What's happening, ladies and gentlemen of League Zero? Acrinator here, and welcome to a short segment where I'd like to go over each of the 12 teams and where they currently stand. As some of you may already know, I was a player analyst for PlatChat during Season 0, so I have quite a bit of experience picking apart macro issues that may be plaguing a team. Also, to take a page out of Dividing's book, I'm going to leave each team with a question that I think their answer to will determine their success, or lack thereof, for the remainder of the season. So without any further ado, let's dive straight into it. First up, Advanced Division. Does Ozzy know how to build a team or what? Seriously, I don't think anyone should be surprised at how crisp and clean the vast majority of Crest's teamwork is. Undeniably some of the best coordination in the entire league, perhaps rivaled only by Papega Parrots and Novice. There's a reason why pretty much everyone rated you guys top of the leaderboards coming into this season, and you've definitely lived up to that expectation. There are some weaknesses, however, ones that if left unchecked will cause Crest to drop out of the postseason with a measly second place instead of the champion roles they've been working oh so tirelessly for. Granted, it's going to take an absolute Goliath of a team to bring out these flaws in your play, but considering we have a few of those accompanying you in Advanced, it's probably best to get these addressed sooner than later. During Week 4's game against C9, there were a few crucial moments that led to your inevitable defeat under the tide of contenders level raw talent that some of these players display, chief among them being your ult economy when you're pushed to the absolute edge. Go back and watch Oasis from this match and tell me that you used your ultimates efficiently, because you didn't. What I'd like to know out of Crest is, can you clean up your play under extreme pressure? If the answer ends up being no, Crest may very well fall yet again to Z9, and possibly even the rising dark horse Newt as well, but more on them in just a few minutes. Okay, I'll admit it, you guys proved me wrong at every single turn. I was honestly expecting half the drafted roster to either get banned or bored with this league and just leave by this point, but you managed to hold it together and surprised everyone with a few crucial pickups, such as Melon. Seriously, I don't think anyone was expecting that one. Triumphs aside, you've still got your work cut out for you. The roster is stacked to hell and back with the additions of a few old go-again players. However, this also means that some of these players are going to be riding the bench. As good as Plasma may be at forcing a team to work together, can he get all of these top-notch players to cooperate instead of bickering over playtime? We'll have to wait and see as the next 5 weeks unfold. The last couple weeks have not been kind, have they? For defeating Z9 in Week 1 and initially looking like a top 2 team behind only Crest, the spark has begun to dim over time. You guys still have flashes of brilliance here and there, but with the recent lineup changes between Jason and Norse on main tank, it seems like you guys don't exactly know what you want. Both Norse's more opportunistic playstyle and Jason's face-first charges are viable strategies, but it's about time you picked one and stuck with it as a standard. So which one will it be, passive or aggressive? I'll be honest, it pained me to watch a team with such explosive potential go winless for so long, but holy crap did you guys return with a vengeance. You're currently looking like a top 3 team, and depending on how you play your cards in the next couple of weeks, maybe even stretching that into the top 2. Unfortunately, you do have a ways to go considering the first and second seeds have such an incredible lead on you with differentials, but if you continue to win out like you have been, well, anything can happen. And what I want to know the most is, in stark contrast to Easy Clap, can you keep this upward trend going? A rough first half of the season for sure, but to be honest, the Bark have performed more admirably than I think anyone had anticipated. You definitely have all the pieces figured out, now it's just a matter of where to put them. Some of your best plays and biggest star potential comes out of players like Hedwig, Ecology, and YOLO God, but then you also have to figure out where Agreed fits into this picture. He's a solid main tank for sure, but he also tends to get outclassed by some of the top tier tanks in the league like Yusuf or Neglect. As far as I see it, you could go one of 2 ways. Make Agreed the bumper of your team and go full retard together, or adjust your playstyle to focus on the potential you already have and see where that takes you. So, which will you choose? You know, I had honestly thought the whole GRD mess was left behind by the start of the season, but apparently not. Dividing hit it right on the money when he predicted the same problems that plagued the misbegotten Open Division team would trouble the Chads as well. I mean, seriously fellas, you've cycled through players like they're on fire, and while you have undeniable talent, you aren't allowing enough synergy to build up before the roster makes yet another change. Try taking a few weeks to work with what you've got and build from there. And what I, and probably everyone else watching this, wants to know the most out of you is, what's the plan? If I had to come up with a single word to describe Papega Parrots, it'd be consistency. You guys have managed to take a team with no immediately obvious firepower and blow the entire division out of the water. And while you didn't quite manage the perfect half season, you're so far ahead in map differential that it's almost not going to matter. Your dominance is entirely built upon your teamwork, and because of that, you're easily the most consistently high-performing group in Novice, if not the entire league. That being said, there's a big unknown about this second half of the season. We've never seen how you guys handle a loss before. Granted, you took Double Clap to a map 5 and very nearly beat them, but you still lost for the first time. I think this is going to be the final test for this team. Can you move forward and grow from this defeat, or is this going to become the start of Papega's apparently mortality? Well, you did it. Despite losing to a newly invigorated Platchat, you managed to turn around this half of the season and take down the only team to remain undefeated for the first 4 weeks. You've also managed to secure your spot in second place for Novice, which I don't see you dropping out of for the foreseeable future, unless Botburgers really comes alive in weeks 6 to 10, but more on them later. Interestingly enough, I think the beginning and the end of this half season showcase one of your biggest weaknesses equally as well. While you have explosive star potential and undoubtedly the highest peak in your division, Double Clap seems to struggle in a longer series that drags on. In both weeks 1 and 5, you demandingly took the first 2 maps, dropped the next 2, and then struggled to close it out in map 5. You very nearly became the only team to ever be reverse swept twice in this league, and I'd hate to imagine what that'd do to your morale. What I'd like to see the most is more stamina coming from your players, whether that means training your main roster to remain on fire for 3+ maps, or working out substitutes for specific maps to make sure your lineup can remain well rested and ready to go. I do want to point out the significance of this compared to the postseason as well. The Grand Finals is the first of 4, meaning that this could potentially stretch out to a map 7. As it currently stands, I'm expecting you versus Papega in the finals. Do you think you could outlast them in a longer series? This season's Rio reminds me a lot of Season 1 Philadelphia Fusion. You get hard carried by a few standout individuals, but crumble against teams with better teamwork and similar levels of star power. For Philly it was Carpe, and for Rio it's inarguably Stewie and Epps. Don't get me wrong, these two in particular are absolutely insane on their respective roles, but there's a reason you guys got outclassed by the top 2 teams in your division. And with the Botburgers looking a lot scarier nowadays, you're gonna need to get a handle on your teamwork ASAP, unless you want to fall to the bottom 3. That being said, the recent additions of Apple Expert and Chicken look to have introduced even more firepower into your lineup, but will it be enough? This has been a rough couple of weeks for you guys, hasn't it? Ever since losing to Papega Parrots, you guys started to crumble apart. First you lost Arrow to Botburgers, and then Ada to Rio. At least you got Synop back, but I don't know how much that's going to help your DPS lineup that quite obviously doesn't stack up when playing Goats. I almost want to see you guys make a boot camp for your players to either hard focus on Goats, or try to force more DPS comps in the new map pool. Right now you have a lot of talented pieces, but you've yet to successfully put them together in a meaningful way in the big games. Regardless of what you choose to do to stem this fall, I want to know, can you stop this downward trend? I completely forgot you guys were still in 5th place. With how you've been playing recently, I honestly thought you were already contesting Rio for that 3rd place spot. Granted, you'll be doing so in one way this Sunday, and if you can get your revenge from week 1, I think you have a very good chance of climbing to the top half of the standings. You've had the potential the whole time with your explosive DPS lineup in your underappreciated support line, and now with Arrow leading the charge, we could be looking at the dark horse of Novice. And finally, this is less of a question and more of a request for the new map pool. Play more DPS, please. You're so good at it, and I don't think we've seen enough of it this season quite yet. You know, this isn't exactly what I meant when I said to keep the Plat dream alive when I left for the staff team earlier this year. You guys definitely have some strong pieces, especially in a lot of the former Double Clap members you've managed to pick up, but at the same time, you're only now reaching the basic levels of teamwork and coordination everyone else had going into week 1. I'm not going to say it's hopeless, you definitely have the ability to bring it back and win a few more games, but it's going to be one hell of a climb. With all of the behind-the-scenes work Designs has been doing, as well as the recent pickup of Pooter Scooter as a coach, you're making the right moves, but is it too late? Only time will tell. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this mid-season analysis, and if you're on a team, maybe this helped you think of something you wouldn't have otherwise. Feel free to leave your thoughts on what the teams can do to improve in the comments below, and we'll see you all this weekend for the continuation of League 0 Season 1. Peace nut!